AutoLine Daily is brought to you by Borg Warner, feel good about driving. Bridgestone, your journey, our passion. Dow Automotive Systems, improving durability and increasing design flexibility with Betamate structural adhesives at dowbetamate.com. And by the 2013 Hyundai Sonata. Learn more at hyundaisonata.com.
Welcome to the middle of the work week version of AutoLine Daily. In the second part of the show, we'll get to your comments and questions. But first, the news. And there's more news coming out of the Geneva Motor Show today. But this has nothing to do with any kind of new product unveils. Instead, it's about union organizing. The UAW is holding a press conference near the Geneva Auto Show today as part of its effort to ramp up its organizing effort at Nissan's assembly plant in Mississippi. Nissan says it honors international agreements that allow employees to join unions, but the UAW claims Nissan's American management is fighting any unionization efforts. The UAW also reached out to Japanese unions, so now it looks like the UAW is taking its protests globally to put more pressure on Nissan. Harley-Davidson announced it will assemble 3 more of its motorcycle models in India. Heck, I never knew Harley made bikes in India. According to the Wall Street Journal, the company will also cut the price of its models by 25%. Harley currently assembles half of the 12 models it sells in the country from kits shipped to India from the U.S. Harley made the decision days after India announced it will increase the import tax for motorcycles with engines larger than 800 cc's. Sales of hybrids, plug-ins, and electrics enjoyed a strong February in the American market as car buyers reacted to higher gasoline prices and a bigger selection of these alternative models. Sales came to 43,500 units. That's up nearly 16% from a year ago, and they grew twice as fast as the overall market. If you just look at plug-ins and pure electrics, the growth was even faster. Sales were just over 4,000 cars, up 259% from a year ago. Even with this growth, however, these green cars only comprise 3.6% of total vehicle sales, meaning they're still a small niche. And just because so many of you ask about the sales battle between the Chevrolet Volt and the Nissan Leaf, the Volt outsold the Leaf by more than 2-1. For the second straight year, Toyota President Akio Toyoda overhauled the top management positions at the company's North American operations. Toyota says the new management structure is aimed at real competitiveness and sustainable growth, which is a bit of a surprise because Toyota is already the world's #1 automaker. For the first time, Toyota will be adding outside board members, including former GM Group Vice President Mark Hogan. Other notable changes are that Jim Lentz will now run all of Toyota's North American operations and affiliates. Steve St. Angelo will now run all of Toyota's Latin American operations, and Mark Templin will run all of Lexus globally, the first non-Japanese to run a Toyota division. In other Toyota news, the company showed off its personal mobility concept at the Geneva show yesterday, called the iRoad. It's a 3-wheeler with motorcycle-like handling that's meant for the urban traveler who commutes short distances. The tandem 2-seat iRoad is powered by a lithium-ion battery, has a top speed of about 30 miles an hour, with a range of just over 30 miles, but that's only if you stay around 20 miles an hour. No word on any target price or even if it will go into production, but it would compete against the Renault Twizy, which sells for about $9,000. Coming up next, it's time for You Said It.
Dow Automotive Systems, driving solutions in automotive, commercial transportation, and aftermarket with innovative products like Betamate structural adhesives. Lighter, stronger, safer. dowbetamate.com.
And now it's time for some of your feedback. Al Jones says, I pass 2 dealerships on my way to work every day. Both of these dealers' lots are overflowing with new cars, and one of them is still advertising sales on new 2012 models. So my question is, When the manufacturer publishes auto sales, is that vehicles sold to the dealer or when the dealer sells to an actual customer? Well, that's a great question, Al. When a car rolls off the assembly line, an automaker counts it as sold, but that's only for financial accounting reasons. When automakers publish their monthly sales, the ones that we report about, it's what the sales the dealers reported are. But here's where it gets complicated. Automakers also report how many vehicles they built and how many they delivered to dealers. So we've got three numbers to look at: production, deliveries, and sales. And you know what? None of these numbers ever match up precisely. And the same thing happens when we get the reports on the actual numbers of cars that get registered by customers. The numbers never match up with sales. Tony Gray loved our report on the U.S. Post Office coming out with a limited edition of stamps honoring some of the greatest muscle cars of all time. When I saw the 66 GTO stamp, I smiled from ear to ear, he says. As an owner of one of the most popular muscle cars, 66 GTO, mine is a tri-power hardtop, I can now emblazon all my written correspondence with a lovely vision of my favorite American supercar. Colorado Kid was not at all impressed with the modifications Visteon made to a Nissan Leaf, what they're calling the EB. He says, the EB's a bit of a pipe dream, as well as more than a bit silly, in my humble opinion. No real benefit. The thing being just a bunch of vaporware add-ons with a shift in the interior here and there. Doesn't Visteon have something more productive to do with its time and resources? Colorado Kid? Are you kidding? Did you see how much space they opened up on the instrument panel? Let me tell you, one of the greatest battles that takes place in every new car development program is what they call the battle over real estate, i.e. the battle over who gets what space in a car. And with the instrument panel, or IP, it involves everyone. The body engineers, the interior designers, the safety experts, the HVAC people, the sound system people, and of course, manufacturing. No other part of the car involves so many different disciplines. So for Visteon to figure out how to open up so much IP real estate, wow, that is a breakthrough. Tango R34 says, Elon Musk claims that even if the power comes from coal, it would still be 30% more efficient than internal combustion engine cars. I suppose he means it would still pollute less. John, I wonder what you think on this. Well, you're right, Tango. Electric cars are not pollution-free. They merely pollute less. You can buy cars right now with PZEV emission levels that run on gasoline and have roughly the same emissions as electric vehicles. But that does not include CO2 emissions. However, Ricardo did a fascinating study of an E85 optimized turbo V6 with the same well-to-wheels carbon footprint as an electric car. So EVs are not the only way to lower our carbon footprint. But you know, in the US, we're quickly moving out of coal and onto natural gas, thanks to all that shale gas now available. That's making our electrical generation far cleaner than it was just 5 years ago. In fact, thanks to the move to natural gas, the US is now reducing its carbon dioxide emissions far faster than any other country in the world. And the US's total output of CO2 could drop below Europe's this year or next. Hey, thanks for all your letters and comments. We sure like reading them all. Hey, but before we go, if you have not voted in this week's Autoline poll, we'd like to hear from you. We're asking, how many cylinders do you have in your household? That includes the number of cylinders in your car or bike or lawnmower, weed whacker, snowblower, or whatever else you have in your household. Check out yesterday's Autoline Daily from March 5th. At the bottom of the show notes, you'll find how you can vote in this poll, and we'll announce the results in tomorrow's show. Anyway, that wraps up today's report. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.